actual oil and gas companies, international oil and gas companies. Yes, sir.
The treadmill that you described, the drilling that has to keep up to maintain production quotas and to support the balance sheets and so on, sounds like a Ponzi scheme. And usually at the end, somebody pays. So who's going to wind up paying when the music stops on the stage? There isn't enough gas for the company.
Well, that's a good question. I mean, I think already the people that are paying are the people invested in pension funds. And to go back to the gentleman's comment earlier, just because a pension fund has a manager doesn't mean he's necessarily very good at his job. You know, if that were the case, then we never should have had the meltdown with the mortgage-backed securities crisis. We should never have a down market in that case. So the logic behind that is certainly flawed. As far as, sorry, Tony, what was the other part of your question again?
Who's going to pay at the end?
Oh, yeah.
When the music stops?
The problem that we have with shale gas exploitation is that we are locking ourselves into long-term contracts on a commodity that depletes at breathtaking rates. And that's going to be problematic. One of two things is going to happen. I mean, either they're going to default on the contracts because they simply can't keep up the production enough, or the international pricing pressure from just the higher prices in Asia and Europe there's no doubt, I mean, everybody's in agreement of that. They will exert pricing pressure on our domestic pricing. It will go up. So if it goes up high enough, then it will make it cost-effective for them to drill. The economics will work, but it has to go pretty high indeed. The average break-even cost for shales is about $7.50 to $8. So it's got to go above that to make most shale plays work. If it does go above that, then the economics do work, and then it'll be Kate bar the door. They're going to be drilling everywhere in order to fill these contracts that are going to China. And then you've got significant environmental degradation. And you still don't get away from that drilling treadmill. You still don't get away from the fact that you can't keep revenue stable. You have to just keep this frenzy of drilling up all the time. And as they move out from the sweet spots into more marginal acres, they're going to have to drill, like when you start out here in the sweet spot, and you get out here into the more marginal acres, you may be drilling 2, maybe 3 wells just to equal the production from 1 well in the sweet spot. That's the problem with this. That's why they can't keep production stable for any meaningful period of time. I'm having a hard time reading and trying to answer your questions at the same time, but I do want to get to your question. So, anybody else want? Yes,
one last question. Sorry about that. It's been my understanding that the oil companies have got a profit margin of anywhere from 8, 9, 10, 11% a year. And that's very low compared to most companies. And their income is large due to the fact that they're so big. Is that true?
Well, it depends. Okay, when you start talking about profit margins, what are you exactly talking about? Because it depends on how you massage the balance sheet.
Well, basically that's true. But the profit margin that is sales divided by income. And that gives you a profit margin that most companies, I understand, utilize to see where they're standing at. It's my understanding, like the industry is, well...
That's why I use free cash flow.
Most of them make 15 to 20 to 25%.
How much cash do you have at the end of the day? I mean, if you're a business or you're a family, how much cash do you have at the end of the day?
Well, that's what I'm saying. They have a lot of cash, but compared to their,
But they don't have a lot of cash. See, that was my point with this free cash flow. They don't. It's been deteriorating.
Well, that's
it's negative. It's not even positive. It's negative. And that was this right there.
For how long has this been going on?
This has been going on since 2010. I just drew these numbers since 2010.
Okay.
You can go back to 2007. If you go back to 2007, they haven't had a problem. If you take take a universe of 37 different companies involved in sales, they haven't had a single profitable quarter for free cash flow. So that's why, I mean, when you start getting into things, you can play around the balance sheet so much, and you can make them say whatever you want them to say. But the bottom line is, do you have any money left at the end of the day? And that's why I look at free cash flow. And in that case, as you can see, it's been deteriorating. It's been going down. 2010, 11, 12, 10, 11, 12, 10, 11, 12, 10, and this is break even, that line across there. And so it's deteriorating. It's not getting better, it's getting worse as time goes by. So, anybody else?
Again, I want to thank all of you, and especially Deborah, for bringing this program to us this evening. The League is always proud to have issues that sometimes spark some controversy, because then hopefully you'll start digging and looking for answers yourself. We will be putting together an edited version of this program so that hopefully we'll post it on YouTube, and that may take a little while to get it done, but we will be putting out an announcement on our website. If you will notice on the program that you had on the cover, there is the address of our website. And I encourage you to go to that, because there is a great deal of other material which will go off in many of the directions that we weren't able to cover this evening, having to do with shale development. So again, thank you so much. Do we have a question here?
Joyce, we have plates out on the table, some leftovers, so please take a plate or two home with you.
Yes, we would love very much for you to help take the extra food that was left over and continue to enjoy it tomorrow. Thank you very much.
May I? Yeah. Could I just, can that man just leave? Can that man just leave? Because I wanted to read a paragraph here. If he was getting my thoughts. There he is.
Been waiting for you.
Sir, I found it. This came from a post that I wrote about that. Companies are generally allowed to deduct the cost of investment over time of that investment's useful life, but oil companies get to use a special method for calculating their deductions called percentage depletion. Instead of deducting the cost of an oil and gas well as its value declines, oil companies are allowed to deduct a flat percentage of the income they derive from it. Because the deductions are based on revenues and not costs, the subsidy actually increases at times when prices are high, which of course is when oil companies enjoy their greatest profits. That is a subsidy to those companies, sir. And that is a very significant subsidy to them in the U.S. at the moment. Percentage depletion.
Yeah, I know, me too.
question. How come you're so tilted there?